Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, and any topical issue of the day. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We believe that we could solve the problems that we have. We could address the issues that we have. We must prepare to discuss them and to work together to solve the problem. We're on RealFM 91.9. We're on YouTube and Facebook. And our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, CARICOM nationals, and anyone having the opportunity to listen to us all over Grenada, every creek and corner, RealFM we have listeners there. And we encourage you to participate in our program and like our program and share our program. When you share the program, you are passing it on to people who like it or people who may not like it. But at least they must know about the program to determine whether they would like it or not. And if you don't like the program, pass it on to find out what other people's reaction is. And if you like it, pass it on. Share it and like it. And that is good. The number to call is 442-0175. We always, every now and then, we make an attempt to read some of the posts that you have. And we entertain call. We encourage people to call and punch. Call and say the things that you want to see as quick as possible. Don't wait around with a much preamble. Just punch. We all of us in Grenada are exposed to Christianity. Some are active Christians. Some are lapsed Christians. And because we live on the environment, we know about Christianity. Even individuals who might be Islam would study Christianity. And people who are Christians study other different religions. For instance, I have a Quran. And I always read up about the evangelists and Adventists and Baptists and other religious people in the country. One of the things that is common in almost all religion is to take the mote from your eye before you go in and interfere with the mote in people's eye. That could, if you're dealing with individual problems, you're supposed to look at the problems you have before you go challenging other people or gossiping about it. You could look at it from your home. You could look at it from your school, from your community and your country. So now when we speak, we look at things from our own country and see how we could address the problems. You may be speaking about some issue and chastising St. Lucia. And St. Lucia could always ask you, what's about Grenada? And shut you up. So we look at Grenada. How do we address the challenges here in different areas? And I believe that we could. One of the challenges we have here is growing restlessness among our young men. Quite a lot of restlessness among our young men. And that's a challenge. Because if the young men in your country are restless, they say an idle hand is a devil's workshop. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Go right ahead.
Once you hear my voice playing, you don't want to answer me? Okay.
We welcome all callers, you know.
When I'm calling you, don't do you welcoming people as the tax. How can I ship in, but before
we welcome all callers. They say we welcome all callers. There is no stupid caller on our program.
I see you start the program, clean your bean in your eyes before you clean somebody else. Who will give you that?
Myself.
Okay.
You see, we have to, when we are addressing issues.
How was your weekend? Let me live what you live in there. How was your weekend?
Great, man. My weekend is good.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
And thank God we see another week again.
Yeah.
We don't know how far we go reach with it. I want anybody, I might try to give 5 things what the past prime minister give, and another person go give 5. You tell me give 10. I don't believe my head could work with all. Mr. Pierre, the past prime minister built a new hospital, a new stadium, a new mini hospital in Guelph, a new school in Paradise down there, a new primary school, and the bus terminal in town. I wouldn't say the bus terminal in Grenfell because we don't finish that one yet. And then we do what we do again. How much I give you there, Mr. Pierre? How much you check?
You're supposed to know.
I didn't check it. The new hospital, the new stadium, the new bus terminal, the wall in Tempe, the hospital, and the new mini hospital in Wall. I could remember that size. And all by road, a lot of little by road all around. This is the past Prime Minister. This is Dr. Honorable Kit Mitchell. And I come out from Tatula and I listen everybody. Where you from, Grenada? I was in Grenada. Grenada looks so nice. Grenada is so beautiful. When I would not say Mr. Gary didn't do much, but when you hear Dr. Mitchell come, he made Grenada like a little America. Dr. Honorable Kit Mitchell made Grenada like a little America. When people tell me how my country looking, I'm here raising my hand, and I'm proud of my country. I see people come and want to mess it up now. Because after Dr. Mitchell, after Mr. Gary and Dr. Mitchell come, no other Prime Minister didn't stay to do nothing in this Grenada here. No, because Mr. Bishop come, he studied the international airport. Dr. Mitchell who finished it. And no other Prime Minister didn't come and do what Dr. Mitchell do. And people saying Dr. Mitchell stay 9 years and he don't do nothing in this Grenada. Tell them put on glasses. If they don't put on glasses, go to the eye specialist and look around. Have a blessed day.
Yes, caller, thank you very much. Yes, I always say the caller, when I say take out the moth in your eyes before you go addressing the moth in other people's eyes, we always try to avoid taking every statement from an individual perspective. If we're speaking about the Caribbean, then the moth is the Caribbean eyes, before you go in Europe or England or Africa. If we're speaking about Grenada, we can't go attacking St. Vincent, St. Lucia. They're going to simply ask us, well, what's about your own country? And shut you up. And it is in these contexts that I speak. We could address the challenges that we have in Grenada. We must believe that. We must not be angry every time somebody criticizes us. When somebody points a criticism at you, you must examine it and see if there is truth in it. If it is the truth, if it is a fact, before you try to refute it. Because if it is true, how are you going to refute it? That is a challenge that we have now in the politics. The National Democratic Congress now is attracting a lot of criticism. And many of the political activists, the politicos, the mouthpieces of the NDC is unable of defending this criticism, so they are attacking you personally. Defend the criticism. In the same way, individuals call on the radio and they attack NNP. And some NNP supporters want me cut off the individuals. What you need to do is to deal with what the individual says. If somebody call and say, the NNP has not done nothing in 9.5 years, then you call and tell the people what NNP has done. So in that way, you provide information for them and you neutralize their false statements. But if you cut them off, what happens? You don't want to face the truth. That is what a lot of the mouthpieces for NDC has been doing on the radio. They cut off people and they block people because they don't want to hear the truth. I want to hear the truth. So I have no intention of cutting off anybody, of blocking anybody, once they wouldn't cause people to sue me because I'm financially embarrassed and I'm suffering from monetary instability. So I would not permit you to say things on the radio that will cause me to be sued. But if you criticize NNP, then somebody NNP caller should call and neutralize you. Say, what you're saying is not the truth. This is what he has achieved. And you give some things, particularly, if you know the area of the caller. You see, we have to start to face the truth. For years and years, propaganda made in the lab roamed this country. Now we must deal with the truth. It's going to take some time, If we on RealFM continue with the truth, propagating the truth, all other radio stations will follow. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Pierre.
Go right ahead, caller.
I want to give you some of the achievement that under the NNP while in governance. But firstly, I want to look at the River Road
But
project.
give me a few and don't take the whole day.
Yeah. Then you have the bathroom and toilet program.
10,000 toilet.
Yeah.
That is a masterpiece. Then say 10,000 toilet. It's so more effective.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. P. The Imani program within the first.
The Imani program is the best program that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years to give people a second chance.
Yeah, the empowerment program, the youth empowerment program. Then you have the pipeline water to homes. Electrify in the rural area. You have this. You have again the young men, the skills for the young men. Because when you look at the Imani program, some of the majority was ladies. What the government said that the young men will get left back, and the young men want to come to class, so they train them in skills, so that they will learn skills. So that when you learn the kind of equipment that you could go there and you could, the trade that you learn, you make a more get employment. You have again putting all the ministry in one building, making it much easier.
The ministerial complex.
Yeah, when it came to deal with people in ministry, instead of work all town, grand, all over the place, in one building, so making things easier for people. You have the e-learning program again, Mr. Pierre. Right? You have the construction of the cricket stadium and the athletic stadium, construction of the bus terminal, the construction of a new market, the construction of the vendors market. Mr. Pierre, when you look at that, this is what we call empowerment.
So you see, caller,
empowerment of people.
Caller.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
That is where the NNP lost the track. Because even before the election, when instead of they concentrating on these things, they was not doing that. They got complacent.
Exactly.
And when the Prime Minister said, the present Prime Minister that NNP did not do nothing. The callers calling and cuss the Prime Minister and cussing people who follow the Prime Minister rather than telling the Prime Minister these things.
Exactly.
And that is what's supposed to happen. Instead of saying, block this man, what you need to do is to educate the man.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. But they get caught up with the light.
Because they're following the same pattern.
What the government did.
If you on the radio and you have to be blocking people who disagrees with you, it means you're lying. And you don't want people to challenge you. But if you speak in the truth, you don't have to bother about challenge. A number of radio programs, even on social media, they're blocking you. They don't want to hear the truth. So they have their callers, their special callers, agrees with all what they say. That have to be wrong. When you criticize the teachers in our country, all of them vex with you. You cannot have a school, you cannot have an education system that is like a factory producing individuals that is not competitive on the job market. Our schools today is like a factory producing individuals that is not competitive on the job market. If I had to grade our schools, I give them 30% for productivity. And that would be a very good point. Because I'm certain it's about 20%. But sometimes when I speak, I dare them to take me on, I dare them to take me on. That's why I leave the 10% as a buffer zone. 70% of the children that exit in school cannot meet the minimum requirement. How are you going to develop a society like that? It is difficult. It is difficult for less than 30% of the people to carry you. 70% of the children that exit school should be qualified to go to university. If you exit school today, you do not have the necessary qualification to enter university. You do not have the necessary qualification to enter the public service. Government is the best employer in the country, so they go take you still, but you don't have the qualification. And we have one among the educators, and I believe they should shed a tear. Instead of that, they're turning up their face when people say they're unproductive. That is why I appeal to parents. Because the education system is the hardest system to challenge in Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean. Don't believe the rest of the Caribbean better, But I say, take the mud from your eyes first. Don't ever believe that the rest of the Caribbean is better. Maybe Trinidad and Barbados a little better. You cannot have an education system that 70% of the children cannot meet the minimum requirement. You see, I'm not using a word like failure. Don't use that word. They cannot meet the minimum requirement. Mommy, your children is shaft in school. They have an unwritten selection system in your school that your child is doomed to fail. 70% of the children are doomed in the school. Children are profiled from the day they enter school. The die is crossed. That can make. That can make. And don't look for that word, because they're not using that word anymore. They get more sophisticated. They say your child is not academically inclined. What it means is that can make. The same strategy Dick Mitchell used. He campaigned on a principle of transformation. But he said it is not transformation. It is more restorative justice. And all our intellectuals, our social scientists, our politicos beating around the bush, instead of asking Deacon, what do you mean by that? Retract the statement. Take it back. Deacon has not taken back the statement. He has not disassociated himself from the statement and say, when I said that, are the kind of mad. He continued with the same statement. The ex-prime minister, in explaining what he meant, said rebalancing. St. Jude says realignment. Now these individuals are from academia, you know. They're bright like smoke. How this individual could be so intelligent, so bright, and so bad-minded? And this is the same thing that is happening in the schoolhouse. Your child is being shafted in school. Some schools up to Form 3 before they start chemistry. Now, if the science subjects is more important on the job market today, if the creative arts is another attractive way on the job market, how does the education in the school reflect these things? Computer science is important. It means mathematics is important. It means chemistry is important. It means physics is important. It means biology is important. Now, the average parents you meet, when you meet them, ask them, in your opinion, what is the most important subject in school to get your child competitive on the job market? If they tell you cookery, they're a joke. The majority of children that come out to school that say they have an A in cookery, they could only cook in hotel. They learn how to present food, how to make lazy daisy, present food on the table, the salad and etc. They cannot come out from the school and do cookery and go and cook street food. They could cook chicken and chips, macaroni pie, scones, another little lazy daisy. They can't even cook for the parents to eat. Now we have to face our reality. We have an upsurge in antisocial behavior. We have an upsurge in crime. And the police don't know how to deal with it. I ain't blame the police. When the police reach a function, if you have fight, the police close down the function. And there's a lot of anger all about because people would have invested $3,000-$4,000, and I'm talking about small functions in villages, $3,000-$4,000 to make a function, and it's easy for two fellas to go and fight and break it up. The police close it down. Not taking into consideration that people were employed to man the function. We are not solving problems. We are not solving problems. In the same way, the educators cannot face the reality. The question must be asked. Why is 70% of our children exiting school cannot meet the minimum requirement? Why? We have over 500 soca artists. Some of the songs they sung become mantras and anthems in the school. They have become motivational entertainers in the school inviting them. Yet, the majority of them couldn't pass English language. But how you could be calypsonian, you're writing among the calypso, you composing, you're writing calypso, people can pass English language. Something have to wrong with you. Something have to wrong with the system. We cannot address the problems that we have if we don't take a look at the education system. And I have no faith in the present Minister of Education. I have no faith in him. And presently the government themselves wish not to tackle the education system. The first thing they do was to try to bribe the teachers. When they gave the teachers money that legally they did not have to give them, go and find out the reason they gave them. And if that is not tantamount to bribery, they must tell us what it is. And the next thing they try to push in school is sexual alternative lifestyle. And the teachers reject. And they back down as quick. Now, if we want to solve the challenges in Grenada, and I believe we could, I believe in 5-10 years, we can make a serious dent in the job market. I believe a number of individual parents have already taken action. But the majority of parents is tagging on with a system. You, the parent, and when I say parent in Grenada, parents in Grenada, I'm principally speaking about woman, not man. Why? 60% of the household are led by women. And a significant percentage of the household led by man, the man had to have permission from the woman to lead. Otherwise she fire him tomorrow. He only leading because the woman have veto power. So women are responsible. And our women must get hungry for education. They must recognize if their children are to do better in school, they have to become hungry for education. Right now, they're not hungry. I'm always in discussion with young girls and women and young boys in school. I make it my duty. You see, that's how I do my research. I am not capable of presenting any scientific paper or writing any paper. But I want the courage of my conviction to speak. So I do research. Ask them. Children in Form 1 and 2. When your child is in Form 1 and 2, you must be discussing with them what subjects that you want them to do in school. Otherwise, they'll be shafted. They'll be sidelined. And the policy today of the government that be is not helpful. You see, we're in a unique position. You know. The problems we are having now, the problems didn't start now. You know. It started years ago. The problems we are having now didn't start yesterday. It started years and years ago. But because of the culture, the philosophy, and the attitude of this government is like a catalyst to help to speed up some of the social decadence and antisocial behavior we have. So if we're not careful, crime is going to rise. Prostitution is going to rise. Murder and other issues is going to rise. Predial larceny is going to rise. And our economy will deteriorate. So it is important for individual parents to take stock. The majority of parents wouldn't bother with me. They want to say, this individual singing for his supper. You don't know what he's talking about. But individual parents, I know some of them have been taking me seriously, and that's why I continue to speak. By the time your child is 5 years old, because a lot of the children in secondary school, they are already condemned. They don't have a chance. They would leave school and they will be on the job market struggling to find a job, and some of them going to end up another problem for the police. But the children between 5 now, the children who enter in primary school, that is our best chance to stem the factory that produce children that are not competitive on the job market. Make certain that your child do foreign language. The relationship between Grenada, Latin America, and Cuba, the geopolitical relationship, is constantly improving. And it means a small country like Grenada, who is always in the spotlight, could be able to lobby and get a lot of scholarship from South America. Venezuela have millions of people. Mexico, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Cuba, millions of people. So if Grenada could get a couple hundred scholarships from this country, while it is insignificant to them, it is extremely significant to our country. Make certain your children learn Spanish. It's not difficult. It's not hard. Start to play Spanish music in your home. The same children in your house, they know how to get Spanish music. Encourage them to play Spanish music. Encourage your children to pray in Spanish. Most Christians pray 7 times for the day. They just don't do like Muslim and spread mat by the roadside for everybody to see them. But they're supposed to pray when they get up in the morning. They're supposed to pray before meals, and they eat 3 meals a day. They're supposed to pray in the school. They're supposed to pray when they live in school. They're supposed to pray before they go and sleep. And if you're a Catholic or Anglican or Orthodox, then every time you meet at church, you make the sign of the cross. And making the sign of the cross is an act of prayer. And parents are supposed to bless their children when they leave the house. Say a word of prayer when your child leaves the house. And when they come back, thank God. So you have to do more. So encourage your child to pray in Spanish. Home. You yourself might learn to pray in Spanish, or you might enjoy hearing your child pray in Spanish. You might even laugh. Listen music. Spanish music. Salsa. Grenadian like to wine. And Spanishers dance fast. They go able to identify with some of the dances of the Spanish music. Do the same with French. Start to listen to Cadas and do the same with French. If your child on living school is able to have French and Spanish, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and English language, your child could have the minimum qualification or the basic qualification to enter any university in any discipline. If you want to do law, that is a good area. You want to do engineering, mechanic, journalism, almost any field, you have the basic education to enter. Now, when you're poor, you mustn't be stupid. When you're poor, education is the answer. Don't let them fool you. And this is why some people try to keep people from getting a good education. And we have a group of people now, including the 9 ministers of government, that is trying to keep your poor children from getting a proper education. That's the big difference between them and Eric Gary and Kit Mitchell and all the other prime ministers that passed, including Tillman Thomas. That is the big difference between these 9 members who I consider as vultures and all other past leaders in Grenada. Eric Gary built 28 schools in 13 and a half years. St. George's University, pre-education or primary or kindergarten. Now we use the American terminology, kindergarten. Technical education in collaboration with Canada. Daycare centers, community centers. He built that during that time. All because of education. And he introduced truancy officers. Because people were not going to school. So they have these officers going out. Those of you in St. Andrews will remember Miss Telesford going around. And these people wield immense authority. Because if they tell you they're calling the police, believe it or not, police coming. To get children to go to school. And if you say you didn't have food, they give you food. And in collaboration with Canada again, we had CanSave. When the revolution, we changed it to Green Save. To provide food and assistance for you to go to school. Every government after continue on the same trajectory. During the Kit Mitchell period, it grew by leaps and bounds. Until one of the seed officers about 7 years ago told me, and I continue to propagate it on my program, that if I find one child in Grenada, one child, that cannot go to school because they don't have the basic requirement, she said, just tell the ministry. We will go and find that child. And in many of my programs over the last 7 years, I've been challenging her without success. But today, you have a government that comes and prey on disadvantaged children. You hear now government is taking the social program from disadvantaged children. When these things happen, Parents must understand the ball is in your court because the system, once again, is attacking the poorer people of this community. You have to take the bull by the horn. They say when you horn in the lion mouth, jock out the tongue. You have to make certain. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, you get it in by the lady there?
Yes, caller.
You know that, Pierre?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll cook something. You the pass. Okay, right. Yeah, you say that the children don't go to school, but Mr. Pierre, let me tell you that. Now, don't get mad with me. I used to live upper St. John's. And when they get the money in the community center, some parents is on them. And I see it for myself, Mr. Pierre. Them children them up so. Half of Belmont Estate was theirs. They running all over people here, all over in the community center, all where the mangoes is. Every place is where they could run. Throwing stone after people, animals, breaking their foot. And the parents of them they do this to send the children to school. Because when they give the $200 or the $200, that when they was giving it in the community center. When they come out and do what they have to do, the children don't see the money, they not smelling the money. Know what I mean? So now, Mr. Pet, children is still going to school. Look, in my community, you don't have a child or children, whoever, they is out of school. Maybe in your community. But I will repeat again, now parents used to get the seed money or whatever they call it. They need to send their children to school. That is Upper St. John's, St. Andrews, Northeast. And I see that for myself. And I know that for myself. The hairdressers on them, why you used to get it? They nail the $2 and $3 of KFC. I don't jealous them. Die what they like. That's why a lot of them go after the money, because I used to tell a lot of them up there, but tell you what, don't study the money so much. Don't think about the money. Go and learn at trade. Go buy the man over there and learn a little mechanic. Go and learn something. But they put their mind for money, so they don't school. They are done their schooling early. So don't blame the government. Don't blame this government now for not sending their children to school. You have a good day, Mr. Pierre.
Thank you, caller. We have a lot of work to do, you know. Otherwise, we're in trouble. Because if the children don't go to school and they pelting stone and pelting mango, as you say, culture man, and breaking animal food, tomorrow they're going to be shooting the animals. And they're going to shooting the elderly. And government going to have to spend more money on prison. And more money on the police force. And individuals like you, culture man, who have discretionary income, going to have to get up your house. Yes, caller, welcome. Caller, welcome. We lost that caller. And people with discretionary income got to get up their house. Culture man, they start to beat up old people in the land already. We had an issue in St. Patrick's, where the 80-year-old man was chopped up in his land. He said even the police and all forget him. The home for the aged in St. Patrick's, a number of people died there during COVID-19 because Jab rights. One of the individuals who left the home, only some woman go and look for him. Police and all that bother. So if we don't speak out now, culture, to provide for these children that not going to school, and the truancy officer is supposed to be on the ground, the government cannot abandon the children. The government take $150 from the parents. The government take the money they was giving these children. And the government is paying tuition fee for those who could pay. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. All right, we lost this caller again. Call up, pick up the telephone and try back. The government making a big issue that they're paying tuition for everybody. Well, no child was left behind. So all those who were not able to pay, government was paying for them. So the government decided to take from those who are unable to pay and to give it for those who could pay. Culture man, I know you was poor like church mice too when you go to school. But you was in a better position than a lot of children. How the government of Grenada could do that? Nothing is wrong in paying tuition for everybody. But it must not be at the disadvantage of those who couldn't pay. That's why I asked one of my NDC partners to ask the Minister of Education how much children is chaff, how much children is disadvantaged to get the money to pay for those who could pay. That's what the government did. That's what the government did too in 2008 when they introduced free school book for all. They were pointed out, why don't you provide the books for those who could pay? So it is sustainable. They pay for all. There are some people in Grenada who have discretionary income and it's easy to pay for the children. Whereas there are some people who can pay. In the 70s, we had children from St. Andrews, more than a dozen of them, going to GBSS with cars. They was going to GBSS with a vehicle. And some of the more daring ones used to come up for lunch and go back. The parents had vehicles. I knew one individual in primary school. The principal wanted to beat him. He said he ain't taking lash again. When he go home, his parents asked, what you going to do? He said, buy me a car. I'm going to run taxi. Before the week up, they buy him a car. His smaller brother said he's not going to school till he want a car. He was about 14, 15 years. In those days, they just buy license. He buy him a car too. One of the cousins tell the parents, I want a car too, I'm not going to school. We had about 4 or 5 vehicles, new vehicles in the village running taxi. In those days, they don't even want to make money from taxi, you know. Because banana eating pin. So the parents making money. The government of the day is chaffing, disadvantaging the people in the lower income group. Culture man, we must not support it. We must demand that the truancy officers make certain the children go to school. The government is disadvantaging the children. Every time the National Democratic Congress comes in power, we back to the same issue. So now it leaves up to parents. You, the parents, remember, 15 to 20% of the parents in Grenada have it well locked down. The children doing well. The children going to school, they're going to do well. They're going to go to university. Yes, caller, welcome, and you got a punch. You are the last call.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, when it comes to education, I mean, this government has definitely shown their disregard for the nation's children and our education. And I don't really want to stay, but I want to point out some of the done.
Go right ahead.
Both by Sorek and by Dr. Mitchell in terms of education schools. In St. Andrews, I'm living in St. Andrews, and I can tell you, Within the last 9 years alone, you had SAS, you had RFC, the Methodist, GSS, Christian Academy, Telescope Preschool, Munich, all of them were upgraded and brought to the standard where our children can have a better education. Right? These are the things that we must all champion and for. And you say they say the government has not done anything. This is just in only 9 years. And I'm only talking about a few schools in St. Andrews. Mr. Pierre, have a good day.
Yes, scholar, all the past leaders of Grenada put significant effort on education. Well, Eric Gary and Kit Mitchell might have done more. But Tillman Thomas, Bradford, Brizan, the revolution did a lot for education. But this government is the worst. They are so brazen and blatant that they are disadvantaged. The children they're taking the money from. Why? These are the poor, Culture, even if the children wasn't going to school, no, it's going to be worse. The result going to be violence. The result going to be a group of individuals that are not going to school. You see the downturn groups in the community. Culture, there is no groups in the community now. The teachers in the school don't interested in groups no more. So these kids are not socialized. So there'll be more fights between villages because they never socialized. They was never in any group. You will find less teacher to parental contact. Some of the parents are going to give up early. You will see more police in your community looking for your own children. Every little activity you have will be fights. When you have fights, the police come and lock down the activity. Because obviously, what the police going to do? The police say, what are going to do? They're fighting too much. So you could spend thousands of dollars to have a genuine activity in your community. And two individuals break it up. They're not working, they don't have money, and the parents fed up with them. The answer is the education system. But you have a government that is hostile towards people in the lower income group, old people, Imani people, disadvantaged children, and people who are looking for second chance. We have a government that is hostile towards them. And that is the worst group of individuals and are in tongue-long culture. So I think more has to be done to encourage parents to take the bull by the horn and try to salvage your children. The government attitude wouldn't change. So that will go on for 5-6 years. And one have to pray that the next government that come say, well, if this government could get away with it, they refuse to live frugal, they travel all over the world, they turn millionaires from the government coffers, they might ask themselves, why should I make the sacrifice? This is the danger that Grenadians have to start to contemplate. And next government come, and they put no restriction on traveling. And when you speak to them, they say the next government is to travel too. And they use the government coffers to enrich themselves. And when they're traveling, they travel with a woman, and sometimes they might add their brother and sister too. Because they said this government before did that, and you say nothing. That is why I'm speaking about taking the mote from your eyes before you go and take it from people's eyes. When you question them, they attack you personally, hoping they will intimidate you or they tell a bag of lies. So we can't walk away. What the government is doing is going to destroy the economy of the country. but also it's going to affect the social fabric on the ground. And then we might become more and more police state. The people who will be affected the most are the people who have discretionary income in the country. The richer people, they go break your house. Those of you living in gated communities, you will be the target. Those of you who are a little better in the community, culture, the same group you say that pelting stone and breaking animal food, they'll be firing guns. And you too might be a target. We might be a target, not you alone, we, because we are an elder group that seems to have discretionary income. So we have to speak up now. You see, because the government attitude, the government restorative policy is going to speed up the process. It is acting as a catalyst to produce and manufacture bad behavior in the country. So culture, you in a position to talk to them, ask them questions, why they doing that, tell them your own experience in your community, that the children is not going to school, and they could send truancy officers to ensure the children going to school. And then you could identify those people they're taking money from, because you know the community. We know our community. We know who broke in the community and who they broke in. You know those in the community that are suffering. You know what the economic situation is. We want to thank you for being with us today, and we're back with you again tomorrow for another opportunity of On Target.